Hey, what's up, friend? Are you a mama who wants to stop just getting by? Maybe you're motivated to grow yourself in your motherhood, your marriage, and you want it to bear fruit. Or maybe you want to stop letting the mom guilt, the shame, the limiting beliefs, and lies. Amen. That's me right there, sister. And start stepping into the woman and the truth that God has created you to be. While we're juggling all the things, right? Nursing a baby, battling laundry, trying to keep it together, and a spicy marriage. But where the heck do we start? Hey friend, you are in the right place. I am here to hold your hand through this journey because I believe when you're ready to take control of your life, beat the limiting excuses, and step into the woman God created you to be, you can not only survive, but you can thrive. But you're gonna have to show up for yourself. It's time for me to tough love your way through taking self-care seriously, investing and growing in your marriage, and owning your motherhood, and getting rid of those excuses because the glory is in the journey. It's in the mess. In this podcast, you'll find navigating mom guilt, mindset, and marriage strategies and everything in between, with no fluff and lots of fun. Let's go. Y'all, what is up with that fire new intro? Did you guys love it? I hope you do. Get in the So She Grows community on Facebook and tell me if you like it or not. I've been dying to re-record that intro for so long, and I just now got the ability. Hey, you guys, what's up? I am super excited for you to be tuning in to this podcast. Of all the podcasts you have to choose from to listen to today, you chose this one, and I am so grateful that you are here. I had not put anything out in a hot minute because I don't show up when I don't have something to give or pour out. And y'all, I have been empty, which is what we're going to talk about today. Like, you cannot pour from an empty cup. I was like, when you leave like the coffee pot on the burner when there's no coffee and you forget to put water in there before the water like starts coming in and stuff, and you turn on the burner and it's just like smoking and burning and it smells rank. Like, that was me. I probably smelled rank too because I'm taking care of a toddler and I can hardly take a shower by myself right now. But I wanted to talk about this idea of the more of yourself that you give, the more you need to receive. And I didn't understand this fully. And y'all, it's so amazing how in the journeys that we're going through, like in it, it's messy and it's hard. Like, y'all, I was struggling. I probably broke down like more than a handful of times. I know at least two. And I mean, like big, deep, like it was surface level things that were triggering me, but it was like really deep, like constant things of my own doing that caused the, the meltdowns essentially. And so like, it's just interesting how like in the middle of it, I feel like God is always taking you through it, like you're always in the mud, but he's like, just hang in there, because on the other side of it, I have something to show you so you don't have to do that again. Right. Like, so, and I feel like he puts people in your life also that can point that out to you. So don't beat up the messenger, which my husband has been my messenger and he is abused right now. But it's just hard to be in that place, right? Like, you want to be that friend that's like, hey sister, like I see you and like I just need to tell you this isn't healthy. And some of us get like, we get defensive and we want to be like, who are you to tell me how to mother, who are you to tell me how to do this and that, but it's out of genuine care for each other. So this is me coming to you out of genuine care for you because I was just here, hence why I haven't showed up in weeks, because one, I don't show up when I don't have anything to say to you. I don't want to just put out poop content that's just coming out of my behind because I need to put something out there. No, I want it to be valuable and worth it if I'm going to take up your time. And like I said, I was that empty coffee urn on the burner, just like smoke and burnt crisps under the bottom. I don't know where I'm going with this. You know what I mean? Okay. So the more of yourself that you give, the more you need to receive. So I had talked about stealing moments of joy in another episode previously, where I really felt like in this season of my life, toddlerhood, I have an elementary student who is super rambunctious. I have a teenager who has got a lot of attitude. And then I have a toddler who is extremely needy and doing all the things, constantly on the move. They're all such joys, but also they all require so much of me right now in several different kinds of ways. And so I had talked about how my husband had mentioned stealing moments of joy throughout the day to help me get through the day, moment to joy, moment by, next moment of joy, right? And it helps us get through those basic days in a more joyous, energized way because we're putting more life into and more of ourselves into these monotonous, like repetitive days. But they don't solve your problem. So here's what I learned. If you're pouring from an empty cup, obviously, those moments of joy do not solve your overall problem. They're just covering the symptoms for now. So I feel like when you are having a healthy cycle of, or in a healthy habit of taking care of yourself, then those stealing moments of joy acts do provide really good, healthy days for you. If you are not pouring back into yourself and all you're doing is trying to get by on those moments of joy, it's not sustainable. Okay, so like here's an example of what I'm trying to say. So let's say you're on a long road trip, right? You're in the car and you're hungry. You're like starving, like you're hangry at this point, but there's no place to stop for food anywhere around you. So you like find some random stick of gum at the bottom of your purse and you settle for that, and it curbs your hunger for like that next hour or so. But within the hours after that, you're freaking starving again. But like there's still nowhere to stop. So if you keep trying to do that piece of gum, right, like it's no longer working for you. But despite the fact that we know that it's no longer working for us, like it's not filling us up, it's not giving us energy, it's not giving us that solution to the hunger that we have, right? It's just like this thing that we're doing to mask the symptom to get by, but it's not sustainable. We can't do it any longer. We're about to maul our husband's face off because we're freaking so hungry, right? And now we're fighting, and now we're angry, and now we can't focus on the road. Like it's causing all these other problems because we are choosing to keep going instead of stopping and finding someplace to eat. And sometimes we can do this unknowingly, right? Like I didn't realize how deeply I needed to find an outlet, how deeply I needed to pour back into myself in more ways than just those moments of joy. Because and you guys can relate to this. We as mothers and women, and sometimes just naturally we serve out of like the gratefulness of our hearts. We do it because we want to, we love it, right? We want to pour into our children, we want to pour into our friends and our work and other things that we're doing, that we don't realize how much of ourselves we really are pouring out and how little we are taking and giving back to ourselves, like how little we're pouring back into ourselves. And when that balance is uneven, we can't do it, right? It's like trying to drive further when we know that there's no gas left in the tank. It's like trying to just putter, right? We're like, okay, this is me in real life, y'all. I always try to like test the limits with the gas tank because I hate stopping for gas. And so I will push my car further, even though it says like it's literally on 0 and it says E and it says 0 miles. And I'm like, okay, but just a little bit more. Like, I know you got some more in you. I know you got it in there. My car's like, I hate you. I'm about to stop on the side of the road. Like, you're going to have to push me. That's what we do to ourselves. And sometimes it's because we don't know it. We don't have a gauge. Sometimes we get so caught up in all the activities and all the things that we don't realize and step back and say, whoa, like, I need to take a minute. I'm exhausted because this is why. Like, it's not just because I didn't get sleep last night. It's because I am continuously not getting sleep and I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not going to bed on time. And I'm continuously cranky because I have this, like I don't feel heard. I don't feel seen. I am, resentful of my spouse because they have an outlet and I don't. I'm not making time for one, and XYZ, right? So long story short, for us, we had to have the discussion of like, okay, what does an outlet look like for me? And I really had to think of, okay, there's a bajillion things that I would love to do, but right now in this season, I can't do some of those things. So what is something that we can do? And then we need to work and say like, okay, I have to figure out a way to make this work, whether it means the kids stop something, somebody stops something, or I get a sitter, or we find something. And so for right now, just to share with you my decision making and what my thought process is my husband suggested going to the gym. Initially, I was like, no, because I had gone through a season of being a gym rat and I was very obsessed with it and it was unhealthy and I didn't like what it did to my body or my thyroid. And so I stopped. And, my kids got older, and so I enjoy being outdoors more than I do inside. And so I found joy in working out and honoring my body outside. And so the thought of going back into the gym was just very unattractive to me. So then, I kept thinking about it, even though I had already dismissed the idea. And I was like, you know what? This is the only thing that makes sense in this season, because at our gym, there is a childcare center, and I really love their helpers, their workers. It's just really clean, really nice, really sweet people. And I was like, even if I don't work out, or, if I do, they have 2 free hours of childcare free. I mean, it's included in the membership. Okay. Anyway, but if I wanted to do work, I could go to the gym, drop him off, go to the cafe, and do work instead of working out. Like, even if I didn't actually work out, that would still give me time to do the steam room. Maybe I could go swimming by myself. Maybe I could go in the sauna, or maybe this is my solution of, I need to pour back into myself. This was the easiest thing in this season because it doesn't interfere with my kids' activities after school. I can do it during the day, and my toddler is watched and he's having a good time and he's playing. So that's just like a logistical solution. But then it also is something that you need to think about, okay, when you are in motherhood so much and you're starting to lose yourself, which is what I think that we start to do in this sort of feeling of pouring ourselves out more than we are pouring back into ourselves, is that, what do I want to do? What are some dreams? Like, I'm doing this podcast and I have, other things, but for just fun. What is something that I love? Like, I love podcasting for fun, but it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot of intentionality. Like, I just want to do something for fun that I've thought of doing with no outcome, no, I have no goal, right? And so I was thinking horseback riding. So this is something that I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to rodeo ride. I just want to go on a horse and feel like I can forget about everything and run and ride and spend time outside, which is what I love, and do something new and different. Okay, I don't know how I'm going to fit that in. I don't know what that's going to look like. Maybe it means in the summertime I do something with when my kids are at camps, or I don't know. But here's what I do know, is that what I experienced in those past couple weeks, because we're just in a season of chaos and things going on, right? We have our junk in a barn, still in boxes, things, up against the wall that we get into. I, have all my kids' lunch stuff in bins, and I'm making dinner on a electric skillet that's on a fold-out table, and a microwave, and an Instant Pot, and a crock pot, but we live in an RV that has no, it's just a difficult season. And, something that could be doable for a weekend or a week, but when you have 5 of us, and we have a schedule, and we have 2 dogs, and I have a toddler, and we have school to do and activities to do, and I mean, this is my season that I'm weathering that is just tough on us, right? It's tough on our marriage. It's tough on me mentally. It's tough on me emotionally, physically, and it's exhausting. I mean, you have your own season, right? Whatever that looks like. Maybe you're in a season right now where it's just rough and the waters are rocky and it's choppy and it's just pushing you down. You can't get up. You can't get a breath of fresh air. You don't know why you're getting crushed so often by these waves, right? You may have a season that looks different, but we are all sometimes in those seasons where we are pouring out more than we are pouring or receiving love or energy or time or whatever it is that we need back into ourselves. And we have to try to not feel guilty for the fact that we need things, that we are needy people. I felt so guilty for feeling like I couldn't do all this. I couldn't weather the storm the way that I wanted to. I was even shaming and guilting myself because I wasn't handling it the way that I wished I could handle it. Well, I'm not wired that way. And that's okay. Some women, some of you guys can handle more than I can handle in different kinds of seasons and areas. And some of it I can handle better than you, right? This isn't a competition. And I think that that's kind of what I got into my mind of, I should be able to look at things more positively, or I should be able to show up more often, and I should be able to just, be grateful and have gratitude in the season, but I don't. And I can't shame myself for that. I need to give myself what I need instead of depleting myself and denying myself of what I need because I'm comparing myself to other people. We can't compare ourselves to other people and then deplete ourselves of what we need, expecting ourselves to show up as somebody else, because that's unhealthy. That's where I was. It's not a good place to be, y'all. So, first of all, let me tell you that it is okay to feel burnt out. It is okay to feel overwhelmed. It is okay to feel like you need more. It is okay to cry. It is okay to feel all the things and to need and be needy in the way that you are, okay? Because God wired you that way. I think that where we mess up and where we make the mistake is when we ignore those needs and we ignore our body, we ignore the cries of our heart, and we ignore the cries of our mental well-being, and we ignore it in hopes that we can pretend to be somebody that we're not. And I want to give you the freedom to, instead of shaming or guilting yourself for who you are, to love yourself and show up for yourself because of who you are. So pour back into yourself knowing that you need more time alone. Pour back into yourself knowing that you haven't found an outlet in such a long time and done something just for you. So now you need to. Or honoring yourself because you haven't asked for help and you need to. You guys need to reevaluate who's doing what around the house because you can't sustain it anymore. Like, you're dropping all the plates and every morning you wake up dreading the day because you know that there's too much for you to carry. Something that I was reminded that I didn't think of until just a little bit ago when I was thinking about what I wanted to say in this episode was I literally just had my pastor talk about resetting and prioritizing ourselves and time to rejuvenate. And he was even saying, he had mentioned how even God took time away by himself, right? Like, he didn't go to a spa. He didn't like get his nails done or anything like that. Like, Jesus didn't go out and do something crazy and whatever, like, but he would separate from the crowds to pray, to be alone. So that way he could pour back into himself to serve more, right? So I'm not telling you not to show up, not to serve, because I think that's in us. Like, we want to. Like, I was thinking that's just how it is initially. Like, I want to pour into my kids. I want my kids to be able to do all the activities and all the things despite how I feel and how I'm functioning. But the truth is that if I was to continue going on that way, I can't continue to provide and lead and sustain that kind of support for my kids if I am not even in a good place, right? Like, imagine Jesus, if he never took time for himself, would he have been able to be patient and heal and be gentle and be motivational with those crowds if he was sleep deprived and depriving himself of what he needed and depriving himself of, time with God? Like, no, he couldn't show up in the ways that he was supposed to show up. He wouldn't be able to because he would be exhausted. He would be depleted. There would be nothing left of himself to pour out. So I'm telling you right now, even Jesus needed that. Like, this amazing, like, half God, half man, like, person, right? And like, all we are is human. We are moms. Like, so if Jesus even needed time for himself, like, we need that too. Probably 100 times more so, right? So I just felt like I need to share that with you because we don't realize. We just get in it, right? We get so into our lives that we don't realize that the balance is uneven. And we don't see that our underlying issue is that we are that empty pot of coffee on the burner with no water. Like, we are the gas tank that's on E, 0 miles to go, and we're letting everything around us, our circumstances, the world, put their pedal on the gas to push us to do more, and we have to say stop. We have to be able to be aware of our own selves, or somebody like my husband, for instance, to say, hey, like, this is not healthy. This is not, I see that you're like doing this out of the goodness of your heart, and I see that you want to be in all the places, but like, you are only human, and right now I don't like who you are because you are denying yourself of what you need. And everybody suffers. I think we think that only we suffer, and I think that we feel like we suffer in silence, or like nobody will know. But like, sooner or later it festers to the top and everybody knows and everybody feels it, everybody around you, because it's hard to be around somebody who's like, I mean, imagine when you're starving. I'm the worst to be around when I'm just starving. Like, that's not added on to when I'm sleep deprived, when I feel like a toddler's been hanging on me all day, when I feel like I'm trying to navigate like just crazy life circumstances, right? So when you add all these things together, like we're only human, y'all. We have to give ourselves that time to receive and pour back into ourselves just as much, if not even more so than we give. So that way we can give ourselves fully and in the best way, in the most way that we want to give. So here's my challenge for you today is that I hope that by doing this episode, you feel seen right now. Like I hope that you feel like if you've been in this place that you're like, yes, man, like she gets me, she understands me, because I am there and I felt like nobody understood that. I felt shame that I felt this way. I felt wrong for being so needy. I felt wrong, like why, and I just assumed that everybody else is surviving and I just can't hack it, right? But that's far from the truth. I think that we just don't talk about it. So I want you to, one, feel like you're not alone in this, because you're not. I was crying my eyeballs out, like ugly face, not all over. I was the most ugliest person, sleep deprived, impatient. I was taking it out on my kids, like just, it was awful. And so you are not alone in that. But I also, secondly, want to challenge yourself to find something that will give you an outlet that will help get you back to where you need to be. Maybe it is going on a walk by yourself every day. Like, I don't know. You need to really dig deep and find, okay, something that will truly help you to feel like yourself again. Because if it's not just the walk, like if you're just doing a walk because it's the most convenient thing to do, but it's not going to do anything for you mentally, physically, or emotionally, then that's not it. Okay. So you need to think, what do I need right now that will help me emotionally, mentally, and physically be and show up better and feel more fulfilled and more capable in this season of my life. So whatever that is, and then you need to prioritize it and figure out how to do it. And then you need to not guilt yourself for the changes that you guys need to make for your kids' schedule, your family's schedule, to make that happen in this season, and then see how you can either alternate things to where you're pouring into yourself, and then maybe you let your kids jump in back into their activities, and then you take a break and do you, and then you take a break of them, and then or whatever. Or you come up with a new system of figuring out how to prioritize yourself, how you're going to pour back into yourself that is really sustainable and really like long-term day, like going to solve your problem, get to the root cause and fill that empty gas tank. Okay. I don't need to see any other moms puttering alongside of the road, like just right in your little cars. Okay. All right, guys, that was my TED Talk for the day. Do not be like me. Do not let yourself get so far off the deep end that you cannot function, that you are mentally in a dark place, emotionally, physically, because it's hard to get back out of it. And here's another thing, because I thought it was funny because I went to the gym, which was my first time yesterday. And so I had time to myself and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel great today. Like this is totally going to turn things around for me. And then by the end of the night, I could feel all those feelings of overwhelm and, burnt out and all these things creep up again. And I was telling my husband, I was like, why do I feel like this? I had time to myself today. I worked out. I went in the steam room. Like, why am I already feeling like this right now? And he's like, you let yourself run on E for so long. One day back of pouring back into yourself is not going to show up or solve your problem instantly. So I want to encourage you guys in this journey that filling up after being empty for so long doesn't happen overnight. So give yourself time once you start pouring back into yourself to rebalance, to fill up, okay? It may take me a month to fill myself back up, to fill my gas tank back up before I am at a healthy tank of gas, constant, healthy routine and habits, right? Because I've depleted myself for so long. So anyways, I just wanted to say that before I left real quick. It was a thought in my head that we have to be patient and give ourselves time when we start on this journey. It doesn't happen overnight. So, all right, that's it. That's my TED Talk. Okay, I'm done. if you guys found this helpful in any way, if you know of a mom who can use this message, y'all, let her join our tribe. Share this message with her, share this podcast with her, and most importantly, subscribe so that way she can find it and it can get to more moms who need to hear this stuff and don't need to mom alone, because this journey is obviously hard. It's obviously lonely at times and exhausting at times, and we don't have to do it on our own. So I would love for you to invite those moms in who need to hear, who need to join us, and who can benefit from hearing these conversations that we have with each other. All right, guys, I will catch you next time. And oh my gosh, before I end this episode, y'all, the marriage method course is so close to being done. If you have a marriage that could use some revitalization, or just you that wants to find more fruit in your marriage, in yourself, and the way that you show up in your marriage, this is so for you, and I'm so excited. I've been working on it, okay? And I'm so pumped. I'm so close to launching it, putting it out there for you guys, and I want to do a little something special when I launch it. So for the first few people who jump in on it, there's going to be some sort of something for y'all. So keep in tune. I'm going to be either posting about it in the Facebook group or, updating you on the podcast. Either way, I'm super excited, and I hope you guys have an awesome week. That is all I have for you today. Go take a nap. Love ya.